From slums to source code, the genesis of a hacker. The year is 2032. Neon signs cast a cold, artificial glow across the sprawling slums of New Shanghai. Towering skyscrapers, symbols of wealth and power, loomed over the dilapidated tenements like predatory giants. It was here, amidst the squalor and despair, that Marcus called home. Life had dealt Marcus a cruel hand. Orphaned at a young age, he had navigated the city's underbelly with cunning and resilience. Food was scarce, opportunities even more so. Technology, however, offered a glimmer of hope. One day, scavenging through a discarded computer, Marcus stumbled upon a hidden world. Lines of code, intricate and enigmatic, sparked a fire in his mind. He devoured every scrap of information, teaching himself the language of machines. He had found his escape, his sanctuary, his power. The Phantom Network, a digital den of thieves, takes shape. Marcus quickly realized the potential of his newfound skills. He could slip through the digital cracks, unseen, unnoticed. He could exploit vulnerabilities, manipulate systems, and bend the virtual world to his will. His first targets were small-time local businesses, corrupt officials, anyone he deemed deserving. Word of his exploits spread like wildfire through the city's underbelly. Other disenfranchised youths, drawn to his charisma and skill, flocked to his side. They formed a loose collective, a digital brotherhood united by their shared circumstances and thirst for retribution. They called themselves the Phantom Network. Their operations grew bolder. Banks were hacked, data stolen, systems crippled. The Phantom Network became a thorn in the side of the city's elite, a constant reminder that even in a world dominated by technology, the oppressed could bite back. Marcus, the once scrawny orphan, had become a force to be reckoned with. High-stakes heists and shadowy alliances. Marcus's ascent. The Phantom Network's growing notoriety attracted the attention of powerful figures lurking in the shadows. Criminal syndicates, recognizing the value of Marcus's skills, offered him resources and protection in exchange for his services. Marcus, pragmatic and ambitious, saw opportunity in these alliances. He orchestrated daring heists, siphoning billions from multinational corporations and corrupt governments. His targets were carefully chosen, often those who had exploited the vulnerable and profited from their misery. He became a modern-day Robin Hood, albeit one operating in the ethereal realm of cyberspace. With each successful operation, Marcus's influence grew. He cultivated a network of informants, hackers, and fixers spanning the globe. The Phantom Network was no longer a ragtag group of rebels, but a sophisticated criminal enterprise, capable of disrupting the world order with a few keystrokes. Pulling the strings of power, Marcus's global puppet show. Marcus's ambitions extended beyond mere wealth or revenge. He had seen firsthand the corruption and inequality that plagued society. He believed that true power lay not in money or force, but in information and control. He used his access to manipulate stock markets, topple governments, and expose the secrets of the powerful. He orchestrated events on a global scale, playing world leaders like pawns in a game of chess. He had become a shadow puppeteer, pulling the strings of power from the digital shadows. His actions sent shockwaves through the world. Governments scrambled to counter the threat posed by this unseen enemy. Law enforcement agencies were baffled, their traditional methods useless against a foe who could vanish into the ether. Marcus had become a legend, a ghost in the machine, a symbol of both hope and fear. A worthy adversary emerges, the ghost in the machine. Marcus's reign, however, was not unchallenged. From the depths of the dark web, a new player emerged. Known only as the Serpent, this enigmatic hacker possessed skills rivaling those of Marcus himself. Unlike the Phantom Network, the Serpent operated alone, a solitary predator stalking the digital planes. Their paths first crossed during a high-stakes data breach. Marcus, attempting to steal sensitive information, found himself outmaneuvered at every turn. The Serpent, it seemed, was aware of his every move, anticipating his strategies before he could execute them. Intrigued and wary, Marcus reached out to his adversary. A tense exchange ensued. A battle of wits waged through encrypted messages and hidden servers. The Serpent, however, refused to be drawn out, his motivations and identity remaining shrouded in mystery. A dangerous game of cat and mouse had begun. Cat and mouse in the digital labyrinth. The chase begins. The Serpent's attacks on the Phantom Network escalated. Key operations were disrupted, alliances fractured, and Marcus found himself on the defensive. The Serpent seemed to be everywhere and nowhere, a digital phantom haunting his every move. Marcus, realizing the gravity of the threat, rallied his forces. He poured resources into tracking down his elusive adversary, determined to unmask the person behind the Serpent and neutralize the threat they posed. He knew that this was no longer just about money or power, but about survival. The chase led them through the darkest corners of the internet, a labyrinth of hidden servers, encrypted tunnels, and virtual dead ends. Each encounter, though brief, revealed the serpent's true skill. They were a master of deception, a phantom moving through the digital shadows, always one step ahead. Trapped in the web, Marcus's empire under siege. As the pressure mounted, cracks began to appear in Marcus's carefully constructed empire. The serpent's attacks had sown distrust among his allies, some questioning his leadership and the price of his ambition. The authorities, emboldened by the Phantom Network's vulnerability, launched a coordinated offensive. Marcus found himself trapped, his once impenetrable defenses crumbling around him. The weight of his actions, the lives he had impacted, the chaos he had unleashed bore down on him. He had become the very thing he had sought to fight against, a figure of power, isolated and alone. A battle of wits and code. The final showdown. Driven to desperation, Marcus devised a plan. He would use himself as bait, drawing the serpent into a final confrontation. He created a virtual honeypot, a trap designed to lure his adversary into the open. The stage was set for a climactic showdown, a battle of wits and code that would determine the fate of the digital world. The trap was sprung. The serpent, unable to resist the challenge, took the bait. A digital duel ensued. A clash of titans waged across networks and servers, each line of code a deadly weapon. The battle raged for hours, a blur of flashing screens and frantic keystrokes. Just when it seemed like the serpent had gained the upper hand, Marcus unleashed his final move. He had anticipated his adversary's strategy, using their own arrogance against them. With a triumphant grin, he turned the tables, trapping the serpent in their own game. Epilogue. The legacy of the Phantom. The serpent's defeat sent shockwaves through the digital underground. Marcus, hailed as a hero by some, a villain by others, disappeared into the shadows. The Phantom Network, its purpose served, disbanded, its members melting back into the digital ether. The world, however, was forever changed. Marcus's actions had exposed the vulnerabilities of a society increasingly reliant on technology. He had shown that even in the digital age, power was not absolute, and that even the most marginalized could challenge the established order. The legend of the Phantom lived on, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones in the darkest corners of the internet. A reminder that in the Empire of Shadows, the line between good and evil was often blurred, and that even the most noble of intentions could have unintended consequences. In the aftermath of Marcus's reign, the digital world slowly began to heal. Governments and corporations fortified their defenses, learning from the chaos he had unleashed. Cybersecurity became a top priority, and new protocols were established to prevent such an upheaval from ever occurring again. Yet whispers of a new shadow in the cyber realm began to surface. Hidden forums and encrypted chats buzzed with speculation, hinting that Marcus's legacy might not be entirely over. Some claimed sightings of the Phantom's signature code, while others spoke of a new figure rising from the digital depths, adopting Marcus's methods and ideologies. The world remained vigilant, knowing that in the Empire of Shadows, the rise of another could be just a keystroke away. As the lines between hero and villain continued to blur, the digital frontier remained a battleground where the next Marcus could emerge at any moment. The legend of the Phantom lived on, not just as a cautionary tale, but as a stark reminder of the ever-present tension between freedom and control in the digital age. The Watchers of the cyber world continued their silent vigil, aware that the next chapter in this ongoing saga was yet to be written. And as the world moved forward, the lessons of Marcus's reign would not be forgotten, ensuring that the flickering glow of a monitor would always be met with cautious eyes and guarded minds. Gap 3S. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more riveting tales from the digital frontier.